If you would have told me when I was 307 pounds at my heaviest weight that losing 130 pounds, getting my dream body, getting snatched, and finally achieving my body goals would have me feeling this lonely, I would have never believed you. Hi, my name is Christianji, and welcome to my channel where I talk about all things fitness, spirituality, and personal development. And today in my topic, I'm going to be talking about my experience as dating as a fattie versus dating as a baddie. And this is going to be my tell-all, how I've been treated by men, my dating experience, how that has changed, and how society has treated me altogether differently. So if you're interested in these kind of topics, sit back, hit the subscribe button because we're about to get into it. Let's first start off with my dating experience as a plus size girl. I think that it's very important to mention my age. I'm 30 years old. And in the era that I grew up in, we were taught, especially through social media, through music, Miss Independent, that's why I love her. Like, we were taught that in order to gain a man's love, you have to be this 50-50 independent queen, come with your own, and be like a ride or die chick. Like, that was super ingrained in my brain. And so when I was dating, it was kind of like a performance, you know? And I was so used to always getting like rejected or being used for. So let's start off with the first relationship. And it all started, he bagged me, and it started with him being generous, but what I thought was generosity back then is completely different from what I think that generosity is now. I remember that he gave me $10 to do my laundry, and I was just like, wow, like this guy is such a provider. Like he really, really likes me. And literally from then on, it then started with him asking me for money for me to invest in his business because he was a rug reeler. I don't think I can say this on YouTube. But it literally transformed, the relationship then transformed into me providing for everything. I'm talking about the meals, us hanging out, like everything I was financially providing. And at first, because he was an entrepreneur, I thought that I was just like, oh, supporting my man and all that good stuff. And I would always travel to his house first. Like I was always the one traveling to his house. And I remember this one day in particular, I was so exhausted. And I'm like, I cannot physically travel to your house today. The moment that I stopped being useful for him was literally the moment that he broke up with me. And in between, the relationship was extremely abusive. I mean, it started to get physical. Then my second relationship, I met him because this was when COVID hit and I was doing Forex and me and him bonded over that, and then we started messing around on the low. And again, it was the same dynamic, except I thought that it was different because he actually like took me on a date and he would be the one providing for food. But in hindsight, when I think about everything, it was the same dynamic where I was constantly always traveling to his house. I lived in Brooklyn, he lived in Dykeman, and that was legit like a 2-hour ride every single day, every single weekend for me to go over. Then, you know, he would pay for food, but literally all we would do is smoke and eat and be in the house all day. And I remember like anytime that I would tell him like, hey, like I want to go out, I want to do this and that and the third, he would always call me ungrateful. And something very interested happened in the relationship. And I believe this is like the most transformational things that have ever happened in my life. At that moment, Kevin Samuels was alive, and this man would put on so many shows of like red pill podcasts. And at the moment, I was extremely confused because I still had this mindset of, women being independent and bringing her things to the table to be like, being this ride or die chick. So when I would listen to him, like watching these podcasts of them literally bashing independent women and, like calling us, especially like bashing like black women, I never understood it, but it was extremely triggering to me. But I started to realize like my ex, while I was dating him, was watching shows and educating himself on how to date and how to date strategically, because genuinely I believe that that's what these videos are about, teaching men how to win when they date and the type of women they should date. And it triggered a transformation in me because I was just like, the concept of being a feminine woman, I was very rough around the edges. Like, I didn't get my nails done, my hair done. Like, I was just someone's girl, but I never really cared about these things. I mean, I was always girly, but I never cared for these things. And so the introduction of being feminine was then, I slowly started to learn, just like grasping from the things that he would watch. And then one day I walked up to him and I'm like, hey, like, I'm going to be more feminine. I'm not going to be traveling 2 hours to get here, go to the supermarket, and then grab these groceries, these heavy groceries, all the way to the staircase. Like, you're going to start having to help me. And so that whole thing really initiated and triggered me because I realized, like, men don't just lollygag and date. Like, men really do take their time to study women and to approach dating with a lot more intentionality than we give them credit for, and a lot more logistics, which then in hindsight made me go down the downhill and study about things about like femininity and study about like how to spot a narcissist, a love bomber. Like, I educated myself to the T. And around the same time, this is when my weight loss journey started. So I think that it's safe to say that I've definitely then turned into a villain, because when I lost the weight and I realized like the attention that I was getting, all of a sudden girls wanted to hang out with me. All of a sudden I started getting invites. All of a sudden, like, I started getting way more praise, way more attention. And I remember the first relationship I got into after I had left that ex-boyfriend and I had lost the weight, he bought me flowers the second date. And this was in the summer, it was around my birthday. And it was the first time that a man surprised me with flowers, just because. He was like, I'm going to give you these flowers because, your birthday is coming up and I'm not going to be able to see you, so here you go. Versus in my previous relationship, he would literally only get me flowers after we fought or because we got into a physical altercation. So, like, getting flowers just because was just like, it was like mind-blowing to me. And now that I just like, now if we speed it up till now, like, honestly, all the dates that I've recently gone to, I've just been used to men getting me like flowers or getting me gifts, like just because, And I was able to then receive money from men just because after I lost the weight, I was able to go on flights just because men were paying for my flights. Versus in the relationship that I was previously in, my ex used to love to travel, and he told me like he never believes in buying a woman a flight. And so there were so many things that I had to like beg my ex for and like wonder why. And when I lost the weight, I started receiving these things automatically. And like psychologically, it definitely did something to me. I'm not afraid to admit that I've been in so many eras in my life, one of them being a villain era, where I think in order to make peace with how society was treating me, with how men was treating me, and realizing like I don't have to beg, I don't have to suffer to get princess treatment. As long as I work on myself and I look good and I show that I look good and I show that I take care of myself, like I will naturally get these things. In my head, like I definitely did take advantage. I did enjoy that time. But now, reflecting back on all of it, I will say like my boundaries overall are just have exceeded. And the first thing is because of the education. It was because I invested into channels such as Shara, Sprinkle Sprinkle. Um, there's so many, also Haley Gamba on this channel. There's so many women channels that I took the time to invest in, and I took the time to invest into my looks, my weight loss, and it just hits differently. Like when you take time to invest in yourself and invest in your education and invest in your looks, you're just not going to settle with any old thing. And when you educate yourself on these things, you can spot a narcissist from a mile away. Matter of fact, I think that this knowledge is actually scary because then it you like once you know the dynamics of a relationship, it's really easy for you to spot it and become the player, you know? And this is why I say that I do feel the most loneliest. I do feel because it's just really hard to manipulate a girl like me. Like it's so hard at this point. Like I can spot the red flags. I can sense the red flags. And I like princess treatment. I like a man to be gentle with me. I like a man to be considerate with me. I like a man to show me why he likes me. But it's insane to me now because when I think about it, when I was bigger, when I was 300 pounds, I was actually in more serious relationships than I am now because my standards are just ridiculously high. And I mean, it has a lot to do with my personal experiences and what I've been through, but I will say that I don't chase, I don't perform for love. I am more on the receiving end, and just having to get used to being like, okay, like a man, this is like, if a man really likes you, then getting a bouquet of flowers before a date is not a big deal versus him getting a bouquet of flowers because he physically put his hands on you. So that's where I'm at now. Is it lonely now? Absolutely. It is lonely because I still go through dating issues. I still go through the process of dating. It's still difficult. I think that just now it's like I have a lot more options, but it's also like having to pick and carefully choose who gets to be in my life. And the process can be a little bit daunting. I mean, if I do have any updates on my dating life, I will love to share with you guys. But this is my experience dating as a fattie versus dating as a baddie. Sometimes it is sad to see how society treats you the way men treat you, but at the same time, I think about it and it's like when you come across a person, their presence speaks for it. You can tell when somebody is investing in themselves physically, and when you see somebody that invests them in themselves, they're only going to attract more abundance. And I think that having that mindset and having that realization has very much helped me to heal instead of me growing resentful. Because unfortunately, and I hate to be the one to say it, but there's definitely their society and dating and everyone, even down to the women that I hung out with, will treat you differently after you lose the weight. And I'm not like body positive or anything. I'm just a girl who's been 300 pounds and who's been snatched and who has felt these differences. So If you can relate to anything that I've said today, definitely drop a comment below. If you like these type of topics where we talk about real life things with my journey, with my weight loss journey, with spirituality, personal development, and things that a lot of people are afraid to say online because they're about to get canceled. Not me. This is the channel for you. I hope you enjoyed this and have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye.